So you're lying in bed at 3 a.m., staring at the ceiling, wondering what the point of everything is. Congratulations. You're having what philosophers call an existential crisis, which is basically philosophy's version of a software update that nobody asked for. Today, we're diving into existentialism, the philosophy that says life is like a video game where you spawn in with no tutorial, no objective markers, and the NPCs keep telling you different things about what you're supposed to be doing. Fun, right? But here's the thing. Existentialism isn't just about having a crisis. It's actually about something way cooler. Radical freedom, authentic living, and why your anxiety about existence might actually be a sign you're doing something right. Buckle up, because we're about to make philosophy fun. Or at least, less boring. Picture Europe after World War II. Everything's broken, millions are dead, and people are sitting in the rubble going, "So, what was the point of all that?" Traditional religion and philosophy were like, everything happens for a reason. And everyone else was like, really? Really? Even that? Enter existentialism, the philosophy that said, yeah, you're right. There is no preset reason. Life doesn't come with an instruction manual. You're basically making it up as you go along. But it actually started earlier with a Danish guy named Søren Kierkegaard in the 1800s. Kierkegaard was basically that friend who ruins every party by asking deep questions. While everyone else was talking about reason and logic, he was like, but what about feelings? What about anxiety? What about the fact that we all have to make choices without knowing if they're right? Then came Friedrich Nietzsche, who famously declared, God is dead, which sounds super edgy until you realize he was basically saying, the old rulebook doesn't work anymore, folks. Time to write your own. Let's meet the all-stars of existential dread. First up, Jean-Paul Sartre, the French philosopher who looked like he never slept and probably didn't. His big idea? Existence precedes essence. In normal people speak, you're not born with a purpose like a hammer is made to hit nails. You exist first, then you figure out what you're about. You're not a hammer. You're more like Play-Doh that has to shape itself. His partner, Simone de Beauvoir, took existentialism and said, hey, this applies to gender too. She basically invented modern feminism by pointing out that woman isn't something you're born as. It's something society makes you become. Mind blown. Then there's Albert Camus, who wasn't technically an existentialist, but hung out with them anyway. His whole thing was the absurd. Life is meaningless, but instead of crying about it, we should imagine Sisyphus happy. For those who skipped Greek mythology, Sisyphus pushes a boulder up a hill forever. Camus said, yeah, that's basically life, but at least the view is nice sometimes. And Martin Heidegger, who, okay, problematic guy, terrible political choices, but he did ask interesting questions about being and introduced the concept of thrownness. You're thrown into existence without choosing it, like being born into a game of Monopoly that's already been going for 3 hours and someone owns all the properties. So what are existentialists actually saying? 1. You're free. Like, terrifyingly free. Every moment, you're choosing who to be, and you can't blame your parents, society, or Mercury being in retrograde. This freedom is so intense that Sartre said we're condemned to be free. It's like having every option on Netflix available at once, liberating but also paralyzing. 2. Authenticity is everything. Most people live in what existentialists call bad faith, pretending they don't have choices, playing roles society gives them. It's like being an NPC in your own life. Existentialism says, stop that, be the main character. 3. Anxiety is normal. That feeling of dread when you think about existence, existentialists call it angst and say it's actually a sign you're aware of your freedom. It's like your philosophical spidey sense tingling. 4. Life might be meaningless, but that doesn't mean it's worthless. You create your own meaning through your choices and actions. It's DIY philosophy. Okay, you're thinking, but I'm not a French philosopher smoking cigarettes in a cafe. How does this help me? Well, ever felt stuck in a job you hate, but told yourself you have no choice? Existentialism calls BS. You're choosing to stay, probably for valid reasons, but own that choice. Feeling pressure to follow a life script, college, career, marriage, kids, retirement, death? Existentialism says that's just one possible playthrough. You can speed run, you can do a pacifist run, you can spend the whole time collecting butterflies if you want. Having a quarter life or midlife crisis, that's not a bug, it's a feature. It means you're questioning whether your life aligns with your authentic self. Social media making you feel like everyone else has life figured out? Existentialism reminds you that everyone's making it up as they go along. They're just better at using filters. Here's the existentialist pep talk you didn't know you needed. Yes, life has no inherent meaning. Yes, you're going to die. Yes, you're responsible for all your choices. But that's not depressing. It's the most liberating thing ever. You're not a character in someone else's story. You're writing your own, one choice at a time. And sure, it might be a weird story with plot holes and questionable character development, but it's yours. So the next time you're having an existential crisis at 3 a.m., remember? That's not you falling apart. That's you waking up to the fact that you're free, you're alive, and you get to decide what that means. And if that doesn't help, well, at least you now understand why French philosophers always look so serious in their photos. Welcome to existentialism, the philosophy where the points don't matter because you make them up yourself. And that's exactly the point.